Welcome to Film Score Fest Show and Tell. This is first time we're trying this out. Yeah, first time we're trying this out. But how many of you have been able to attend Film Score Fest in the past? Okay, and how many people were participants, made a film or did a score? Awesome. So for those of you who don't know what Film Score Fest is, the idea is we pair up filmmakers and composers to make short films, and then we have a screening with a live orchestra playing the scores. So I'll give you a little preview video from this past year in 2019. So this is kind of what it's like. So yeah, forgot how short that is. I've been watching a lot of chess videos. But what we're going to be doing here today is we're going to show 3 short films made for the 2019 Fest, and those directors and composers are going to come up and talk about what they learned from doing this whole process. So let's start it off with Build Yourself a Birthday Party by Jason Schumacher and Samantha Hogan, who did the score. So come on up, Jason and Samantha. So I think we'll have the video play first, unless you had any quick things to say about it first.
No, just watch it.
Okay.
self-explanatory. Yeah, I was filming BTS here when Charlie did the kickoff event, and I wasn't even thinking I would make a film, and then Samantha was like, hey, you want to make a film with me? I said, okay. And then we met for sushi and just started like spitballing ideas and talking about our own anxieties about things, and I don't know, the ideas just kept getting weirder and weirder, and the theme of the thing was something unseen, and so we kind of went with both anxiety and trying to like visualize that. So there's like the kind of mixed media thing that happens when something bad happens. She gets really anxious, and then also just trying to do something more theatrical where there's no like sets. The sets are all just from like lighting or like a simple prop. So those we kind of double did the unseen there. The title comes from a friend of mine's college film that had always stuck with me, and where they're prepping for a birthday party, and I don't know, I just want to make my own version of that, I guess. I was just trying to think of like situations that would be interesting to deal with anxiety, and I was thinking of the anxieties of like nobody's throwing you a birthday party, so you feel obligated to throw yourself one, because you're like, well, I got to do something, and so it just kind of stemmed from that idea. Yeah. Having a lot of fun with the lighting. No, I don't know if you want to talk about score, or just segue into that.
Oh, of course. Who wants to know how to give a composer lots of anxiety? Oh, of course. You hand him something like this and you tell him, go nuts! To start this process, what I did, after Jason gave me this film, I literally watched this film about 30 or 40 times, and I took every little spot and I mapped it out on this timeline that was about 3 or 4 pages long. It was massive, folks.
That I was supposed to bring for this, and I forgot.
Hey, that's okay. He brought the butter, folks.
Yeah. Take a picture with yourself with the butter.
The way I approached it was like I was watching a live-action cartoon, because it kind of reminded me of some of the Chuck Jones Looney Tunes cartoons. Couple of things I'm particularly proud of, and I don't know if you noticed, but I introduced that lobster theme way in the beginning. It's in that spot where she's kind of anxious about who she's going to invite for these guests, and you hear lobster body do 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 do, and that was the cat theme, by the way. So I took a lot of these different musical ideas, some of them I ascribed to some of the characters and the moods that I was seeing, and put them to the film as best as I could. That's why there's this weird flustercluck of things. That was a spoonerism, by the way. And one scene I'm particularly proud of, which I am extremely grateful to Jason for allowing me to do this, that scene with all of the fire and strangeness, and I think that was you in the... Were you in the leotard?
Yeah, that's me in the front. We did, if I can comment on that quickly before you go back, we did that scene first so that all of the rest of the actors knew like how wacky we're going. So like, I couldn't see anything, and I had one of my gaffers and my AD as the other two fire, so I just roped them into it, and so we're all just like dancing our hearts out, and the DP was directing that scene, and the guy who plays the cat, Justin, came over and he's like, okay, you can do that, I got this, if I have to, now I see where the stakes are, so anyway, but sorry, you were talking about the music for that part.
That's okay. That's valuable to know. Because what I did, first of all, who here knows what 12-tone serial composition is? Thank you. For those of you who do not, that is where you take numbers and you assign them to pitches and make a whole mess of random composition noises. I decided to take the colors of fire, red, yellow, and orange, knock out all the letters, put numbers 0 through 12, because it's called 12-tone composition, and I rearranged them by turning them into a phrase, deer flowing Y. And that's how you got all that crazy mess that was random fire craziness. The other thing I did, and I'm hoping the copyright people don't come after me for this, but I swear it's fair use, as far as I'm aware. I took two 1980s themes because Jason here asked me to put some 80s influence into it.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll hear a quote from Take On Me and
That's funny.
Dancing with Myself.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some of the initial inspiration for the visual style, I forgot about the '80s thing, but came from this show that I was like fascinated by as a little kid, but also kind of terrified of because it was all these like theater performers being like really big and theatrical, and they had all this animal makeup on. It was called Zoobly Zoo, and it starred Ben Vereen, and I was like terrified of the parrot lady as a kid. And so part of it was like putting that anxiety, but also curiosity, I think, into that as a stylistic choice. So,
It was fun to work with, so thank you.
yeah.
So do we have, we can probably take like 2 questions if people have a burning question for Jason or Samantha. Okay. Well, we'll
We'll
also
answer-
have some time afterwards to
Yeah,
like ask
we'll answer
people
quickly.
too, but yeah,
His hand-
go for it.
His hand was up in the back
Yep.
first.
Alex, yeah.
Okay, I just have, I guess, the questions for both of you, like, were you also inspired by, like, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but from the director, were you also inspired with visuals by, like, other programming, like Sesame Street and Pee-wee's Playhouse?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, the idea was kind of, it was this, children's show kind of environment gone wrong. And, yeah. And because a lot of the samples, like trying to revisit that, were all, transferred from a VHS, for when she gets really anxious, I built this really stupid camera rig that the DP was like very concerned with, but it had 5 cameras on it, and it was like all different qualities and types. It was like my phone, a GoPro, a DSLR, an ACT300, and so people just like run around with that when things got anxious, and then it would just like cut in between these cameras. They're all like next to each other. And then we transferred some of them to VHS just to mess with it even more.
Wow.
But
One more
Can you
question.
talk about your working relationship? Like, would you do something and come back in a week and you would hear it, or how did that work when she was scoring it for you?
how did it work? I don't know. You like wrote a lot before you showed me anything, I think.
Believe it or not, no.
Oh.
The only real idea that I wanted to try and sneak in there was that 12th tone thing.
Mm.
We talked about it quite a bit, and we met twice. And then I invited him over to my studio and showed him what I was working on. And then from there we spitballed ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And then you told me, go crazy.
Yeah.
And the next week I just showed him what I had, and it was mostly done.
Nice.
Yeah, she was just like, texting me MIDI samples sometimes, or like little piano samples, and I, say, oh, I really like that. And part of it was too just trying to like, even though it is kind of an all over the place movie, of having themes kind of reappear to kind of band it all together. And so a lot of the conversations were on when did certain themes kind of re-pop up again.
Is what we heard the live version of the film?
That was from the rehearsal night.
Okay.
Because the live night had all the applause and laughing and stuff, and so I ended up pulling a pretty decent take from the rehearsal and then kind of messed with it for the.
Was there any surprises when it came time to, from what you had on your mock-up to the live?
Oh, maybe you should answer that one.
There were a couple of moments where timing was a little bit off, but it was pretty darn close. And I was pretty happy with it. How about
Yeah, I was really happy with it.
Live there on
Yeah.
it? Nice.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, we were able to correct a little bit of the timing in there, not all of it, but yeah.
Yeah, we had theremin as the featured instrument last year. So each year we have a different instrument as like the featured one. So
Yeah, and I was glad we found like a natural way to bring that in too.
cool. Well, thank
Yeah.
you. So yeah, one thing I forgot to say at the beginning is that, normally we'd have our kickoff for the fest around this time, but because the grant schedule got moved back, and I wanted to make sure we had some grant money before, I knew what the fest was going to be like. So our kickoff is going to actually be in April this year, so you have a little more time to pre-think about it. And then our fest, the actual event, will be in September. So hopefully that works with people's schedules. But yeah. Next up, we have John Akre and Ryan Udairam. Come on up.
Thank you. Yeah, my best Jerry Seinfeld impersonation right there. Sorry, guys. Yeah, suffer that. Yep.
Any preface, or just get right into it?
Yeah, get right into it. Yeah, pretty much. Start? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I met Ryan at the film score kickoff last year, and kind of talked to him about so that was kind of our main meeting until the actual event.
Right. Yeah.
So we were just on email after that, and so I kind of talked about kind of what we were interested in doing and kind of what we like to do, and so so I started brainstorming some ideas and kind of thinking about how I could take what I thought Ryan was interested in, kind of do it my own way, and then I think I sent Ryan kind of the outline of what the story was, and yeah, and then you gave an okay, and then
Yeah, looked really good. Yeah.
and then I just did it, and and then sent it to Ryan, and it was like, whoa, yeah, it was came back with a beautiful score. That's the great thing about this, is kind of this. Ryan was someone I didn't know before, and just that ability to kind of work with someone new like that. So yeah.
Yeah, the way we had approached this is like, I wanted to let John do his own thing. And so he came up with something and I got something back. And I really liked it. I kind of felt like it had like a kind of a Schoolhouse Rock kind of vibe to it. But I didn't know what to put down for like an entire month. Yeah, and at the time I was like attending jazz jam sessions, and I was like, maybe I should incorporate some of that into there. So I decided to let, a lot of instruments have different liberties. Like the theremin player had quite a few liberties. The drummer had the most liberty because they could write their own part, and a little bit of the bass too. And then the day of rehearsing and the performance, a few of the players did have a little bit of liberties too. Yeah, like when the performance happened and the trombone comes in, I told her right before she went on, jazz it up. Yeah. So she totally just put her own spin on that first melody.
And the one thing we don't get from the MIDI version
Yeah,
is the
there's
musicians are
voice
actually saying
Yeah,
the
which-
words that you see. So like
Yeah.
ginseng,
Yeah.
gingins.
Gingins, yeah.
Yeah. I think there was a version where you did voicing too.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
what.
don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But, yeah. So yeah.
It's
So,
probably on my studio
Yeah.
computer somewhere.
So yeah. So there's that mystery meet the theme, the unseen, which so I right away I kind of tried to think about some challenges for myself and some challenges that might work out for the score too. The idea of making characters sound waves and then without eyes, because so much of when you watch a movie, it's like interacting with the subject's eyes. You get the emotion and all that. So that was a real challenge to try to make characters that would read in some way without eyes, and but also just thinking about the theremin too and the sound waves like that. So those are some things that went through my mind as I was kind of working on thinking about it.
Yeah,
So,
me too. Yeah. This was my first time using like Finale and Rewire together. I was doing all my tempo controlling in Logic Pro 10, and so it just allowed for quite a bit of liberty in going back and forth between the score. Of course, you have to sing it up when you add more notes into Finale, but overall, it gives you a nice performance.
Yeah. Should we open it up? People have questions?
You're there, answer.
yeah.
I don't know if you guys mentioned this already, but like, was there a particular animation program you used to create this animation, or?
Yeah, it was mostly, it was put together in After Effects, but I used, lots of stop motion elements, like, all the clay things, and then even the line characters were lots of hand-drawn frames that were all put together. It was all, lots of photographs, but then the backgrounds were kind of stop motion paper cutouts, but all put together in After Effects for the final version. So yeah.
I'm just curious with that setup of frames. Did he have more frames to compose to with that format, with the claymation?
Yeah. What do you mean by more?
Like-
Sorry. Yeah.
Like,
Just
did
as
you
much.
give him the straight film
Oh.
and then you composed your own frame points? Or did you have like split frames that he would then track his music to?
Yeah, I think I gave you pretty much this. I don't know if I made any changes
Yeah,
to
you
it.
gave
So
me
it was
the
just
pick
yeah,
lock.
it was kind of all
Yeah.
locked down when
Yeah.
Ryan got it to work on it. So yeah,
So,
yeah.
Because sometimes in animation it's the other way around, right?
Mhm.
Where they maybe have the music and then you time
Yeah.
it to
Yeah, exactly.
Beats
Yeah.
per
So
minute.
this is like a typical, like a silent movie, which is kind of what I just love silent movies. So it's kind of the soundtrack that accompanies the picture. So yeah, that was kind of the model. Thanks.
All right.
It's all very blue.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, yeah.
All right, we have one last film, and it is the winning film of the Fest 2019, Snack Table. So we're gonna actually play a couple things first. We're gonna play the film, and then we have a short behind-the-scenes video from the recording session at IPR. So since they got Best of Fest, they got to have a free recording session with the orchestra. And IPR sponsored that, so that was awesome of them. So let's play Snack Table, and we'll bring up the team next. And so this is the studio score version that you'll get to see.
Hi, Lisa. Yes, here is your name tag. Have fun.
I'm not. This way.
Cool. Congrats, Larry.
Going from South Kentucky.
Hi. Didn't mean to startle you, but it sounded like you could use a break. Janet from HR, and you're Anna. What is this? It's like when you were a kid. A place to recharge, refresh, and not completely hate all of humanity. Beer and blanket? I think you know everyone. Alexis and Rosie, Evelyn. Bill's having a hard day, but he'll get there. Hot towel? I love you. Larry, your time's up. Time to get back out there. Larry,
Come on, Janet, just 5 more minutes.
go attend your party, Larry.
All right, I guess we better get back out there.
Wait, so we have to go back?
Well, yeah, can't stay down here forever. See you up there.
No, why? Here, the blanket. So I actually have to leave? Yes, you got this. I'm gonna head back out there. You coming?
In a bit.
I'm Karen. I'm the Executive Director of Film Score Fest, and we're here at IPR. We are going to be recording the score for Snack Table, which was the winning film of the fest this year.
Hi.
In here, our audio engineer master, Kevin Bowe, is checking the mics, making sure everything's set up. And
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Kevin is showing students here how to do a recording session with an orchestra. So we're going to go back in the other room and check out where the orchestra will be. This is the marimba and crotales room. I'm going to be isolated. And in here, IPR students are helping set up mics.
Thanks for that.
Most of the sound actually comes out in the bangs.
That's what I remember. Awesome.
I'm here with our conductor, Kurt Hatberger. Tell me a little bit about what you're going to be doing today.
So today we've got the score divided into 4 different cues, which we'll be going through each one several times, doing a little bit of rehearsal, and then getting as synced as we possibly can to make sure that it syncs up with the video once we're in post. We have a click track for this, and if anything diverges, that things aren't going to sync properly with what's going on the screen. For other types of music, you can have ebb and flow, a little bit more give and take. Over this, you really are beholden to, like, it has to happen now. And so hearing the click in my ear versus hearing the feedback from the orchestra is a little bit of a challenge, but it's one that I'm getting more used to the more I do this.
Before we start, I want to make sure everyone gets to meet Simon, the composer, Simon Sperl.
Well, thanks for doing this. I'm very appreciative. I'm super excited. You don't get the opportunity to score for a full orchestra very often. I feel super lucky to be able to do it. That's one of the huge benefits of having the Film Score Fest. It's just incredible to have the orchestra play it live at the festival. I mean, it's scary. It feels like it feels like somebody opens up your chest and is holding your heart all over you.
And I'm Schumacher, and I directed Snack Table and co-produced and co-wrote it with me, who also co-produced and co-wrote it. Yes. So at IPR today, we are getting Simon's score professionally recorded, which is making my inner nerd so happy that would watch every behind the scenes option on every DVD I've ever watched, and you see them playing the music, and it's so cool. It's beautiful, and they're breaking it down piece by piece, kind of, because within our own short film, there's kind of different segments.
I think you know everyone. Alexis and Rosie, Evelyn. Bill's having a hard day.
I remember when he sent me the music for the opening credits. It struck me in such a different way than I expected it to, this sort of staccato light thing going on. And I thought, ooh, yeah, lean into that. Since it's not music's not the primary thing within our script, he was so willing to kind of accommodate to like our busier scenes, and also like adding new things that I didn't even think about, like before she opens the curtains, that kind of intense music. Yeah. It added such a rich feel to the piece.
Hi, I'm Diana Durant. I was an actor in Snack Table. And it was an absolute blast. I'd never done Film Score Fest before, and being at the festival was so much fun. There were so many other artists, and hearing everybody else's work was just amazing. To see the same orchestra down there, but just cycling through all these different projects, all these different styles was really cool. Hearing the score for the first time, you were in this space, you know, where you maybe haven't seen yourself on the camera before, and there were so many new things happening all at once. I think it was the bassoon, was just such a character of its own and brought such life to the piece. It was really cool.
Thank you all for being here, though. Yeah.
We got it, right?
Yeah, we got it. Thanks to Kevin and all the students here at Akre. Yeah. Simon are here.
We wanted to just end on the behind the scenes, like that was such a nice little flow, and then we're like, oh, I gotta go talk.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out where to start. That's a good spot. Charlie had mentioned to me Film Score Fest. I was actually not familiar with it before this last year, and I said, yeah, you know what? I'm in the middle of like a couple sort of really intense projects right now. Would you? If I haven't gotten back to you, you know, put me on your list of people to bug before the deadline if you want to. And he did. And I was still in the middle of one of the most intense projects of my entire life. We were saving a documentary from dying because paperwork hadn't been done correctly. So we were like, oh my God, quick. And then he's like, you want to do a film? And it's like, yes, I do. So I talked to Sierra, who's helping me with that same project. And we were like, okay. I'll direct, but if we're a team and we hold each other accountable and we meet these deadlines and we pull this together, I do not recommend doing it this way. Don't do it. But we got it done. And we did. We set our deadlines, we kept them, we are grateful to, our credits are insanely long, but we literally put every single name of every single person who let us use a prop, let us had a contact for an actor we didn't have the contact to. Like we were so grateful to every single person who did anything for us. It was wonderful. And then when I met Simon, we just made like a coffee meeting, just to get to know each other. And my big question for him was, how do you like to work? And same to me, I think. I was like, I tend to be this way. How can I help you, keep the ball always rolling, basically. And so we talked through that and talked through some ideas, and he got email updates as the idea continued to shift until we landed on the one that we went with. So thank you for bugging me. I really appreciate it. But get started before that deadline, if at all possible.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of piggyback off that, it was a great team to work with. You and Sierra and everybody. They really know how to collaborate in like the truest sense of the form, and I think that's why we had a thing that we created that I think we're all proud of, and happy with. It's everyone that involved, really trusted themselves and trusted each other to the point where, you could just really build off each other and be vulnerable with each other, and trust that your idea is not going to be, stepped on or anything. So I think that was really, open communication and all the things was really huge, and that's why I think it was a good experience.
I like to over communicate in these situations just because I would hate to have something have fallen through the cracks because I didn't send it out one email. So I over communicated, and we tried to keep it a really open space so that if someone had an idea, they were able to present it even if it wasn't technically part of their job title. You know what I mean? They were like, hey, what if we, and it wouldn't get shot down. It would, if that idea makes the project better, I don't care who has it. Great, let's do that then. You know. So yeah, that's kind of how we worked to do it. Yeah.
Questions?
Yes!
Oh, yeah, all right.
So
we
how
got
long did it take you to film it? And then what was your relationship, with you scoring? Like, would you just send in the footage? And
Yeah, so we shot this in 2 days.
Okay.
We had one location, one room was one set, while the other set was being built that first day. And then the second day we went into that second set. And we got a rough cut together. Well, no, the final cut for that, but we would send him stuff beforehand just to say, hey, here's the rough outline we have so far. If you want to start playing with it, if you want to start giving us ideas. And he sent us some stuff, and honestly, in the middle of that actual conversation where we were talking specifically about cues and music and vibes and the sound element, I was in the middle of another super intense project. Yes, that's right. So were you. So it would be just random spurts of emails, and I might text him and say, "Do you have 5 minutes right now if I call you?" And then I would just pace in the hotel lobby I was working in, and I was like, okay, yep, and he's writing notes and I'm taking notes, and he sends me something else when he gets another 20 minutes to throw it together. And then Sierra, because she was a co-writer and co-producer, was always on all the emails. So if she had sort of oh my gosh, let's try this, there was always that other voice too.
Can you talk about how you initially talked about what you wanted, what you said specifically?
For
music? How you communicated what you wanted or what specifically you
So
said.
bless him because no, I bless him because there were, I think I remember using the phrase, this sounds like a church and I don't want it to. This is too churchy. And he knew what I meant. Yay!
Just take out the French horns.
So I really appreciated that I could, because my background up until this point has almost primarily, I've done some directing, but primarily has been as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I talk, I tend to talk in beats and in feel, And so I would talk, so I would say things like, it feels a little too churchy. I need the relaxed element.
Mm-hmm.
She's not anxious anymore. She's safe. This is chill, but it can't get serious on me, And so he would take that, make some shifts, and I'd go, oh, yes. Okay, we're almost there. This feels right. We just need to tweak it now. Or if something just felt completely wrong, I would say, here's to the best of my ability, here's how I can describe to you why. I think at one point, I used the word Hallmark, and I was like, it's too Hallmark. It's too Hallmark. It can't be, no, it's too Hallmark. Go back. So bless him for knowing usually what I meant, for being able to understand my language, I guess. But yeah, so that's how I spoke. And then if I could tell I wasn't.
But even initially, you
Yeah,
were light.
absolutely. The light stuff he surprised me with over the credits.
Okay.
That I didn't.
Yeah.
That I wasn't honestly sure about. Yeah. I was thrilled with it, but there were certain moments where I was like, yes, in that big space, I don't want it to be scored perfectly. What I need it to be is a noise that isn't all that great. It can be music, but I don't want it lovely. I don't want it to sound pleasing. I want it to be a little too loud because she's feeling claustrophobic. This isn't the place to orchestrate this intricate, beautiful, lovely thing. We can play with that under the table, Yeah.
I have a question for Simon.
Yeah.
Being in the studio and hearing everything back with the orchestra mic'd up, was there any surprises or things unexpected from what you originally were thinking?
It's a good question. It gave me another chance to to make sure. I remember, like, for instance, Erie on the marimba was playing some wrong notes, and that was totally my fault. And so it reaffirmed, like, okay, I have to be so clear when I'm making scores and parts, you know, put the natural sign in brackets and the whole thing, you know. Yeah, so I guess that was kind of the biggest surprises. Yeah. People are, you know, they've got a lot of other things going on. Like, you gotta make it as easy as possible for them.
Just curious if you used temp music before you brought Simon in, or if you had like specific music examples.
Eric threw some stuff. Our editor absolutely threw some stuff on there, and I don't remember which of it we kind of were like, you know what, that's not a bad, like, that's a pretty good direction.
Like the Bach in there when she's getting her nails done. That was actually, they just had the Bach in there. So I said, oh, this is great, I'm gonna score it. I think it's the first time I watched it, I laughed out loud, like when I heard hair on the G-string, you know. So yeah, I just orchestrated it for Lynn so it'd be a little bit sillier, you know, but got that same feel.
Our editor also is the reason why it says Strong Female Role Productions, because we, for the life of us, could not think of anything. And Sierra and I couldn't think of anything, and it kept falling to the bottom of the list, like all the fires to put out, that was not one of them at the moment. So our editor put that in there as almost a placeholder, because I have a hat that says that, and we're like, let's just leave it. Cross it off the list. It's done. It's done. Just leave it in there. Yes. Cool.
Well, thanks. So now that you're all inspired, I hope many of you will participate in the fest this year. And if you're not on our mailing list, I have a piece of paper back there. Make sure you write your name and email down, and I'll send out a notification. And so we have now some time to hang out. There's a lot of snacks and LaCroix out there, so hang out, meet someone who you haven't met before, and ask what they do. But actually, show of hands, how many people are filmmakers here? And how about composers? Okay, pretty even split. That's great. So maybe you can even meet someone who you might want to work with this year. But thanks for coming, and yeah, feel free to hang out there.
Thank you.